Hallo?
Dein Boot hat sich etwas verändert.
Wie bitte? Ja.
So this is quite a different paddling experience that I'll be showing in this video. Those who have seen this before might recognize that this was actually the time where we were stopped by police while kayaking or after kayaking. And yes, it's winter kayaking, it's in Stockholm, and it's the day after the winter nightlight kayak parade, luciapaddling, back in December 2023.
Ah ja, gut.
And you might hear that we're speaking German. And this is because with me is Peter Nestmann from Bavaria. And he's actually traveled quite a long way.
Alright.
He traveled for 33 hours by train to get to Stockholm to join the kayak parade. Quite an impressive feat.
Das ist eine Prozession für das Nobelfest.
You can see that this is also not every day. You can see the procession there of blue light vehicles, so that's police and security services, I suppose, escorts for dignitaries in connection with the Nobel Week celebrations. You know, this is the time of year when the Nobel Prize is awarded. So most likely these are escorts for security escorts for dignitaries, maybe foreign dignitaries, heading from the royal castle, the royal palace, and they're heading towards City Hall. City Hall is where I and others paddled yesterday, together with Peter. He was the first German paddler in an inflatable kayak anyway to join this event. And we spent some time exploring the Stockholm cold winter waters and the amazing light show that you can see there. I'll show this actually a little bit later in this video. But now we're heading out on the east side of Stockholm. And later on in the video I'll show and explain how we actually got stopped by police. First time that's happened to me during a paddle. And you can see the Nobel Week Lights, one of the exhibitions here, the art exhibitions that take place this time of year. So you have light exhibits, and those are placed in different parts of Stockholm City. They're basically art installations that change every year. And some of them are quite impressive, and I'll show that as well a little bit later in this video. So yeah, in advance I'd like to note that this will, for natural reasons, be a quite dark video, because we're paddling in the dark, we're paddling at night. Something that obviously you should do with full safety, with proper lighting along, and since this is winter,
Und
we'll hear first from Peter.
Schweden. Peter Nestmann aus
Deutschland?
Ja.
Wunderschönen guten Abend.
Guten Abend. Und wo genau in Deutschland?
In München, in Munich.
Ja, und jetzt?
Das Haus auf Munich.
Und wie viele Stunden hat es gedauert, hier zu reisen?
Nur 33 Stunden.
Nur 33.
Mit Fahrrad,
Naja, das ist sehr tapfer. Und Göran, welcome as well. It's not every time we have 3 inflatable kayaks or semi-folding kayaks here in this event. So is this the first time for you?
Yes.
Great. We saw you last time in the Swedish Air Kayak Day and follow-up events. So nice to paddle with you last time. Nice to see you here.
So yeah, you heard there from another inflatable kayaker as well, Göran. This was the first time that there were actually 3 inflatable kayaks on the water. I had joined with my inflatable kayak a couple of years. This was my 3rd year, and definitely it was interesting to have inflatable kayaks along, but also this faraway visitor, Peter from Germany. And And here we're enjoying the bells here in Stockholm. You can have quite an ambience at night. And being out paddling on the water in the dark with the lights of the city, of any city really, can be quite an amazing experience. But as I mentioned, you have to be very careful when you are paddling in winter conditions like this. So we're obviously in dry suits, etc.
Ja, här kan man nästan nog inte se. Man sitter en bisschen vid de lykta där tansen.
What I'm saying here is that this lights exhibit, part of the Nobel Week Lights, unfortunately couldn't be seen from the water, but I had seen it the day before from land, and it was quite impressive actually, kind of a magical ambience. I think the name was Fireflies, very aptly. And here's a nearby building where there also was music and a light show, and when I went here days before to record this a bit, the falling snow also created quite an ambience. So Nobel Week Lights takes place annually in December every year, and the light exhibits, as I mentioned, are different every year. So if you are in Stockholm, check out the dates that this will be available during or in connection with Nobel Week. And of course the nightlight kayak parade that we talked about, luciapaddling, where you have sometimes up to 100 kayakers or more night paddling to City Hall, where the main light exhibit is. That can be quite impressive, and of course that's timed so you get to see the light show. This right here is what we also saw paddling from the water, this kind of light bouncing wave there. And this right here is, you might recognize it from where we started at Strömparterren. We'll get back to the paddling in a little bit, but this is right in front of the Royal Palace, and those changing colors and the music and the ambience is a good example of the creativity that actually is behind all of these light exhibits. So each year, again, they're different, and you can walk and experience it or paddle. And this year we had this kind of disco lighting under one of the bridges, the central bridge, and that was actually quite cool to paddle under. Here's the City Hall, the Stockholm City Hall, where all of those kayakers go, and they sing carols in front of City Hall, and then get to see this quite impressive, often light show that takes place projected onto Stockholm City Hall. So again, if you're in Stockholm in December, definitely don't miss this. And also check the date of the nightlight kayak parade, luciapaddling. So even if you're not paddling in it, you might be able to see it from the from shore. It's quite an impressive sight because all of the kayaks, or most of the kayaks, will have lights on them. So here we are, continuing our trip. So Peter is definitely the most dedicated traveler I think I know in terms of the distance that he traveled by train. Again, 33 hours from Munich just to get to the light parade there. And since he had shown such dedication, the next day I actually offered him to show him around the eastern part of the city through the waterways, whereas on the first day the parade and such is by City Hall on the west side. So here we are in front of Gröna Lund, which is an amusement park, and with the roller coasters and such. And you do need to be really careful here in daylight, even because of all the ferries and boats and whatnot that are moving often quite quickly here. There are small ferries going between the islands and different parts of Stockholm and further out into the archipelago. So you want to be out of their way, and of course in the dark you need to have lights on your kayak, and you need to keep a sharp eye and stay away. But we're doing fine. We're aware of what their movement is, and we're keeping a safe distance. Anyway,
Jetzt bleiben wir links am bei Land hier.
so we'll be staying close to shore here for a while, and actually paddling next to this amusement park in the dark or at sunset and such can be quite cool. And right there in front of us you could see actually one of the cruise ferries that goes to Finland. And basically what's in front of us will after a while be waters where there's a lot of traffic. So even if it's less after dark and definitely less in winter, there's still traffic moving and you need to be very careful.
Yeah.
And here you actually have a huge amount of boat traffic in summer. So you want to be careful and you want to be aware of if one of the cruise ferries will be leaving soon, as we were of one of the ferries here that would actually leave in a few moments. So yeah, being safe is key.
Wir können jetzt überfahren.
And like we're doing here, you need to time your passage over to the other side.
Pass auf die Wellen.
You won't be as fast in a kayak as some of the vessels coming towards you. So keep a sharp eye in all directions, make sure you're visible. And here we have successfully made it to the other side. And here is actually the cruise ferry leaving to Finland, I assume. Maybe to the island of Åland, which is part of Finland, but in between Sweden and the Finnish mainland, or it's headed to Helsinki or Åbo in Finland. So this is one of the things as well that I enjoy, and I wanted to show Peter as well that, you know, it's not every day that you paddle at a fairly well safe but reasonably close distance to a cruise ferry with full lights in surrounded by the night lights of the city like this. So that's one of the nice things about being in a city like this. You can see it in so many ways. In daylight, at sunset, in the dark.
Aber jetzt ist es nicht so gewöhnlich. Als ich in der Schule war,
and you'll have to excuse my German, that was a bit rusty. I had written in German here, I think, in the past year or two, but I don't always have opportunities to actually speak in German. So it works, but it's kind of with a little bit of effort, because I use my German in writing frequently, but I don't actually get to speak it. So that's why it was also nice, of course, to have our visitor here from Germany. So now we have reached Hammarby Sjöstad, which is a newer part of the city, with a lot of cool buildings actually, and the light effects here are quite impressive. We're nearing the end of our paddle. We had already paddled quite a lot the day before, and on this day, you know, you have a lot of logistics when you're paddling. In winter like this, you have to get all of your safety gear and extra clothing and setting up your kayak in the snow and whatever. It's a bit extra taxing, so we're not paddling a huge distance here, but we did get to see quite a bit of the city anyway. So here we're approaching the end of our paddle. And yeah, if you were wondering about those police officers checking up on us, they will be showing in this video a little bit in a few minutes. So yeah, we are now ashore.
Mit dem Eisfallen.
And this is actually, as we're alluding to there, you know, with ice and whatnot, it's actually easy to slip and fall and injure yourself. And even if we're in dry suits, you don't want to be falling into the water, and you have rocks and whatever.
All right.
And this was the best spot we found in this area
Oof, that's just...
that was reasonably close to public transport and where we could get our kayaks out of the water. So a little bit of lifting. The Grabner Escape, it's an Austrian inflatable kayak.
Okay.
Is heavier than my very lightweight Kokopelli Lucky Lights here, but of course it's a more advanced kayak as well. And Peter, I was impressed by that he was actually able to get this all the way to Stockholm because it's a quite heavy kayak with all the gear that you had on for winter kayaking. But he has an efficient trolley, and because it's a large and wide and stable kayak, he has place for the trolley on the kayak while he's paddling. So that's actually, you know, it's impressive still that he, you know, with more than 30 kilograms of weight, he's able to travel all the way to Stockholm and then around in the city from Germany, from Bavaria. But yeah, with an efficient trolley and a good packing system, that obviously then is possible. I'm talking a little bit about the nightlight kayak parade there. It's always something to recommend for anyone. Again, if you know when it is, and there's a Facebook event in Stockholm for it, luciapaddling, each year, so you can check which date and time it is, and then you can wait by City Hall, for example, and see all of those kayaks coming in. One year we had maybe 115, maybe more, and it was a very impressive sight, actually, both from the water and from land. So here we're getting closer to the streets here, trying to get away from a bit of the snow slush without blocking incoming if there were any bikes in this weather and such. So we're in our dry suits and we will be packing down our kayaks right here. And as such, you can imagine that we got a few curious looks from bypassers, and we also got some curious looks from the officers inside a police car that happened to pass and then circled around once and probably took a look at us and then circled around again and then stopped and turned on their blue lights, because we were definitely not the usual sight in the city. And as such, we got to explain what we were doing, that we were paddling, winter paddling, and you know, they figured out that we were not up to no good. We were up to good stuff, which is winter kayaking, but they also checked that we were okay.
All right, this is not every day that you actually get blue lights when you're out paddling, but the Swedish police were actually kind enough here. These officers were kind enough to check up on us to make sure that we were okay, because we were here with our paddle gear after a night paddle. So thank you, gentlemen, for the kind attention.
So yeah, I had promised for quite a while to explain how we got stopped by police, and that was it. So you can see the difference. This is where we started in daylight, and we ended up in full darkness, which can be quite an experience. This was a good trip. Thanks to Peter for joining.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. It will help others find the channel, and you will be updated on new upcoming videos. Stay safe and happy paddles!